When I was a 6-year-old girl, my father disappeared in the Venezuelan Amazon. He left a wealth of materials behind: photos, objects, books he'd written, and newspaper clippings, but no moving images for me to turn to as I digested his absence. I tried to keep him alive in my mind, clinging to memories with desperation. And yet, a few years later, I stared at a photo of him I'd kept on my desk since his vanishing, and the face staring back at me was that of someone I no longer knew. Not a stranger exactly. Instead, the image had become abstract, the features no longer connected to the person whose memory had become my constant companion since he vanished. I would see my father in dreams, but just as often, my dreams would bring me photos that suddenly transformed into videos about the scene they featured. Or I'd find long-lost footage of my childhood in which Mom, Dad, and I were together participating in seemingly banal activities. I always woke up invigorated from these dreams, their flavor haunting me for days. Years later, as I researched an in-progress memoir about my father's disappearance, I learned from my mom that she and my dad had owned a Super 8 camera, which they used to record footage for one of his inventions. "Did you film us?" I asked. She searched the past for an instant. "I don't think we did," she replied. "If they ever existed, our family moving images did not survive our various moves across continents." I bought a camcorder during the first semester of my PhD in rhetoric and composition in order to make documentaries as part of my research. The camera lay asleep unless I was filming others for my documentaries. When I went into labor with my first son, William, however, I turned the camcorder to our own lives. As William grew by the day, my lens fell in love with his malleable, luminous face, and as he discovered the world, I discovered cinematography. I already had the basics down, the steady hand, the adequate lighting, but William taught me to play, to experiment, to follow an image as far as it wants to go, to tell the story it wants to tell. And the story was, not surprisingly, the one I'd always longed for. The story of children growing up and parents loving them as they do so. By the time I was pregnant with my second son, Santiago, the experience of carrying him inside me became part of our family's recorded history. With Santiago's arrival, I've begun exploring the relationship between brothers, that wild, volatile love my sons feel for each other, which shapes who they are as profoundly as the love my husband and I feel for them. Until Santiago was born, I thought of our family footage as something to share with my sons and close family, as well as something I'd enjoy when the boys grew older and I missed their tiny hands clinging to me. But with 2 children under 3 and a new job as a tenure-track professor at Michigan State University, it became harder to find the time to edit the family footage I was capturing. And yet, the boy stories felt more vital than anything else I was doing. One sleepless night, as I nursed and nursed a hungry Santiago, I decided to blend the personal, the artistic, and the academic. The boys have since then become integral parts of my documentaries and of my scholarly research. Everything is blended together these days, an ongoing multimodal investigation of family life. I don't know what the boys will yearn for the way I yearned for moving images of my early years alongside my parents. I do know, however, that the images of my own children have filled that void for me. They have also helped me figure out a way to create artistic and scholarly work that is meaningful to me at many levels, and that helps me share stories of motherhood with my own children and with mothers, fathers, and children around the world. I can't imagine a happier adulthood for the little girl whose father vanished 32 years ago, leaving only photos, books, and haunted dreams behind.